Welcome to the iSoftpull Main Course Podcast, where we get straight to the point, the meat and potatoes. Now let's dig in. Welcome to the iSoftpull Main Course Podcast, Season 1, Episode 7. We have Eric Karnezis.
Yes, sir.
Of Accredited Interchange with us, and we're going to dig into how we built this empire from the garage to flying 17,000 feet above sea level, jumping out of airplanes and doing that, growing his business. So let's dig in.
All right.
What happened? Where were you guys going? When I met you, where were you guys going? You're going from one office to the towers.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably nostalgic talking about it, right?
It is. Those were good times. Yeah. So I will say that it was good to meet you that day, because he walks into the office and he's just full of fire. And he's got the suit on and the tie, and just you could tell that you had the passion of a true entrepreneur. And he wasn't asking for free cubicles, so he was working on getting a bigger return on investment, which is a different mindset to be trying to get free things versus return on investment. So I respect that from day one. So that's how we connected. But yeah, we were expanding rapidly, and we had to get to a new office, and with a new office comes a new vibe. And so we were getting new cubicles and a new setup with a new view. And it was a pleasure to give them to somebody who was going to use them. So, we spent about, I think, 80 grand on those cubicles, and we had them for 3 years. And I think it was just more important to pay the success that we had with them forward than it was to try to nickel and dime somebody into them. So
sure. Well, we still use those cubicles today. If you guys see some of our videos, they're right in our office now, and we're making good use out of them. We went from garage to a small office to a little bit bigger office, and now we're in this office, which we're extremely happy about.
I like it here. It's nice.
So how did you go from that small shop to scaling? Was it outside sales? Was it phone rooms? We talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
What was the difference maker in growing?
Well, I think the most important part for us was that we never gave up, because we started in the kitchen, and it was my brother and I started this business. And we put everything we had into it. In order to be a financial institution, you're leveraging things, and there's all these things that go on in the background before you can actually conduct business. So by the time we were ready for business, we were flat broke. We had rent paid, cell phone bills paid, we had some paper leads, and no money. So we knew we have 30 days to get rent and pay these phone bills. And so we just grinded and really hated it, kind of. I mean, telemarketing was not my favorite part of the business. My favorite part of the business was meeting business owners and closing the deal. And so to come in and have to start from there, so we would schedule appointments Monday through Wednesday. We cold called, scheduled appointments for Thursday and Friday. And then 2 days a week I'd close deals. I'd come back on Monday and start cold calling again. And some weeks I'd have 10 appointments on those 2 days, and some weeks I'd have none. And it just was an everyday battle. But the way that we started really scaling was determining, what do we like least about our new career, and how quickly can we get somebody to take that role from us. So as soon as we had any amount of extra income, we hired a telemarketer right away. And the telemarketer was ambitious, excited to be on the phones, learning a new industry, younger, and just got on and started killing it. And then I was just off closing deals. A little bit more money comes, 2 telemarketers.
So they're just setting appointments for you?
Yeah.
They're just openers.
And then I was the closer. And, so I didn't start a business as much as I just started a really good job for myself.
Sure.
And then as we started scaling out, more telemarketers, then it was like, okay, let's get a new sales agent. And then I just started traveling the United States. I mean, we were picking up sales agents in Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas. We were in Chicago, Illinois. I mean, we're just bouncing around. I'd go spend 6 weeks in that town training a sales agent while the telemarketers were scheduling appointments.
So was your call center here in San Diego calling nationally?
Yep. just whatever zone we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we always made sure we were only telemarketing where an agent could go. And in the beginning, it was important. If we couldn't get there in an hour, we didn't want to build that zone in the beginning. So we started in San Diego, pushed out to Arizona because you could fly there in an hour, pushed out to Sacramento because you could fly there in an hour, and sort of took this little area under control. And then as things started getting really good for us, pushed out further and further and further. And we found a lot of success once we left the California, Arizona area. It's very saturated in this zone.
So how did you get these reps?
That's a good question. I think we've always had sort of like a blessing or just luck of the draw, because we'd run ads and we'd interview people, and sometimes, like in Salt Lake City, we ran an ad for 6 weeks. I had one person apply, and he applied on like week 4. Meanwhile, I'm in this hotel and running appointments out there just to keep the money flowing while we're trying to hire. And so Salt Lake City is different. They don't use Craigslist out there. It's like illicit to them. And I didn't know that. So we're like running these ads on Craigslist. Nobody's responding. They were using back then, this is 2014 or something, they were using Indeed. And finally put an ad on Indeed because some local at like a bar was telling me about it or something. And so get one guy, pretended like there was competition, and pretended like he got the job, like he earned it, and just totally BS'd him. And he ended up killing it. He just ended up being a phenomenal sales agent that made us a ton of money and was just ambitious. He had a wife and a kid and wanted to provide for the family and just really grinded. And it was just fortuitous. And a lot of what happened to us on this journey has been fortuitous. And I think that's the most amazing part about it.
And I remember when we first, after you gave us the cubes and we were talking and we went golfing and we started hanging out, started getting to know you, you used to tell me about these reps that you would hire. They'd have to show up in a nice car.
Yeah.
They couldn't show up in a bucket, right?
One wrinkle in that shirt and you're done. I won't even interview you.
So tell me about who the guy you're looking for is. That he's going to represent your company.
There's things I look for. We all know your words are the smallest part of your communication, right? There's how you show up, how you carry yourself, your energy. There's just this whole thing. So I'll know right away if you walk in, if your breath stinks, you're done. And I'm huge on that. Nobody wants to sit there and sign a contract with somebody breathing.
You're not going to get that deal.
No.
Yeah, interesting.
And so the wrinkled clothes, it just shows, we're talking about banking and finance, and people's businesses are their livelihoods, and the money that they make is how they get their kids through college and they pay for medical bills. And so if you're going to play with somebody's money, there's this certain level of expertise that you should have. And if you can't even put on a clean shirt, then how are you going to manage somebody's livelihood, right? So image was huge. We have to drive to these appointments, and sometimes we're driving 1,000 miles a week all over the place from one appointment to the next. And so if your car is in bad shape, I can't have our call center schedule you 20 appointments for the week for your car to break down or overheat on the side of the freeway. Not going to happen. Also, you can't pull up to these businesses. And I've hired people that had, questionable vehicles. And I've just been like, look, don't park in front of the business. Okay, reserve that for the customers. Like, I don't want to tell these guys. I want to boost them up. So I'm not saying, hey, your car is crap. I'm always training them, park at the neighboring business, park across the street, like save that prime parking for their customers. Let them know that you respect their customers.
Yeah.
And so we've trained people that way too.
And if people do that, it sets that's that nonverbal communication, right? That's that I'm doing you a solid before we even doing business together.
Exactly.
Okay, so you get out of the garage, you hire a couple reps, you're flying around, and I mean somehow something happened between then and showing up here in a Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Something happened where we're not just doing small business. We're making money, right? So there was some scaling that had to happen. I mean, there's only so many appointments you can take At some point you had to go, all right, let's duplicate.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
We figured out real quick that, I could make a lot of money with 4 telemarketers. And so we knew, okay, if we want to hire a new sales agent, we need to have enough money to hire 4 new telemarketers for every sales agent to make them highly successful, because we want these guys making 20 grand a month. That's what we want. And we've changed their lives. I mean, we've had sales agents come in one way and walk out with brand new Mercedes, custom suits, nice jewelry. I mean, we've seen the transformation, and we love that. And I think that's a big part of it, is that if you're helping people and changing lives, then your business is going to be successful anyway. There's no failure for that. But the scalability was really simple. We knew that we had jobs we hated doing that we hired other people to do, and then we'd find out what our employees hated doing, and we'd hire other people to do those. And we just created a bunch of easy buttons. Instead of having one really technical person managing this whole thing, we just had 5 people doing really easy tasks. And so when we schedule an appointment, the telemarketers no longer have to confirm the appointment and do anything. Once they schedule it, it's over for them. They can just keep scheduling. There's somebody else who actually will call and run quality control on it, verify that it's a legitimate appointment and that everything was touched on, as far as, are they the owner, do they have statements, little things that we deal with. And then another person will call to confirm it the day before, right? So we have like different people managing different parts. All the sales agent has to do is wake up in the morning, check their iPhone for the appointments that we put on their calendar, and drive to the appointment and close it.
And they're only going to solid appointments then at that point.
Oh, super solid appointments. If you are not pushing a 60% close ratio in my company, then you're gone. I mean, you have to be trying to fail. We did have a guy, we scheduled him 21 solid appointments, and he got 21 I'm thinking about it. And so, we try to train people. If anybody ever says they're going to think about it, it means they don't trust you, period.
Sure.
Right? So, and that goes back into how you're showing up. He was showing up with his, gold chain hanging out, smelling like cigarettes, wearing like club outfits, the nice shirt and the nice shoes, but with the blue jeans, and just looking like he just left the nightclub. And people didn't trust him. And we got feedback from that. And so I gave him the feedback, and he ended up leaving the company. But that's one of the things, is you have to make it so easy that there's no way to do anything except succeed.
So there's 4 telemarketers per sales rep.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you got 4 sales rep, you need 16 telemarketers, right?
In this industry, if you really want to succeed, yeah.
And then how many quality control people?
We have teams.
Okay.
So an inside sales manager can manage an 8-person team without stressing out too much. A 6-person team would be easier. So we'll have an inside sales manager who will manage the quality control person and the confirmation department for that team.
So there's 1 confirmation and 1 quality control on 1 team. Mm-hmm. So a team looks like 8 sales rep, or 8 appointment setters, a QC. What did you call it? What was the other one?
Confirmation
department, yeah. And a sales manager on 1 team.
That's managing the outside sales rep.
That's
and
right.
Just making sure that they feel like they're on a team, that they're not alone on an island. Because we're here in San Diego. Yeah. We're at the office every day playing basketball and having a good time in the office. And, it's really, we always have aimed to have a really good time in the office, which is also important, is making sure that if they're smiling when they're talking on the phones, the person on the other end is going to hear that smile. And so it was important that we had a really good time. Unfortunately, our sales agents would be sitting in traffic 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, they're isolated.
Yeah. And so the inside sales manager, their main job was to reach out to these outside agents, make sure that they knew they were a part of a team, make sure they knew that we were thinking about them, holding them accountable, and also helping them succeed as much as we could. Their job is, after every single meeting, the outside agent is to call the inside sales manager and explain what happened, to understand, why did you close that deal, or why did you not close it? And then if you did close it, We coach you on bringing that back into the next appointment. And then if you didn't close it, we pinpoint what it was about the close. And there's always something. And then we make sure that that doesn't carry into the next appointment. And so just those little, I wouldn't call it micromanaging because we were really free and open, and it was more like just a team. I wouldn't call a basketball team a micromanaged situation, although there is a lot of teamwork happening. So there's sort of a differentiation on how you approach that. It's kind of the same thing, but we never felt like it was micromanaged.
Yeah. And so I want to touch on 2 more points. One, did you ever try to do it all in office and not have sales agents? Like, why did you want somebody in person? Right?
Yeah. So,
because you could have just done a Zoom call, or there must have been something why you wanted somebody in person.
I mean, we started the business in 2009? Isn't that when like the first iPhone came out? So the whole Zoom call and stuff, it wasn't something that was as
could have done Skype
every day as it is now. Yeah, no, Skype. We did Skype a lot.
Yeah.
We'd interview people on Skype. The outside sales agents, that's what we used. But I think for us, we initially tried to do some inside sales, and it was just a huge failure. It was a lot of work. So we want these guys to have a one-time close. And so if we schedule the appointment, and then we quality control the appointment, and then we confirm the appointment, and then some hotshot sales agent shows up dressed perfectly, good breath, the whole thing. They're going to go in there. We have this beautiful presentation. I mean, we make the business owner feel like $1 million. And in turn, we get their business on the first meeting, right? So with telephones, we found that, yes, they're closable, but it could take you 4 or 5 conversations to get the merchant statement. And then you respond back with like a proposal. And then it could take you 4 or 5 more conversations to get them to say yes. And then we've had it, they'll fill out the contract, and then you email them the contract, and then they'll just go and give our contract to their current provider and try to get a better deal that way, or just never call us again. And we just had initially less success, and our goal was to grow. And I love traveling.
Yeah.
It was fun. And I like hotshot salespeople.
Yeah.
So like, put me on an airplane and put me in front of another guy who thinks he's better than me, so I can show him he's not. Right?
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. We are inside sales now because we make way more money now. We're way more stable, and you can take 3 months to close that deal. We don't really care. We're growing every day.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What was interesting is we were shifting. We're doing some of the same things. We're shifting to online sales, right? Somebody can sign up all the way online. So what happened in your business when you were like, all right, maybe it was COVID. Maybe you weren't allowed to go door to door. I don't know. Or not door to door, but in person.
Yeah.
How did you make that shift from outside sales agents all over the country to now I'm here? Do you have any outside sales agents now?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what's important to understand about business is that everything is energy. And a lot of success comes from positive thinking and positive vibes. Like, that's how you attract it. So you can show up to work and you can work 12 to 14 hours a day in a bad mood, hating your life, but going through the motions, doing the work and failing. And then you could also show up and work 2 hours a day, super happy and playfully, and make a fortune. I don't believe that hours and hard work create success. I believe that we attract success. Okay, and that can be taken any way you want to take it, but that's the way that we've always made it, is by attracting it. So the call center for us was not helping our attraction. We have who wants to work in a call center? Who wants to hide in a cubicle and talk on the phone? These people are missing teeth. They have tattoos on their faces, criminal history. They're selling drugs in the parking lot before they come to work.
Smoke breaks every 20 minutes.
We caught a guy shooting up heroin in the bathroom. We caught another guy selling Oxycontins and carrying a gun to work. Okay, so now you're mixing. There are people making 20, 30 grand a month in this company. Our ISMs are making $250,000 a year. We have all these people showing up, succeeding and loving life. And then we had the highest paid call center in this industry. Okay, we were giving these guys $30 an hour, $40 an hour. I mean, we were giving them huge bonuses. Okay, because we were thinking that you could pay for professionalism, and you can't. And so we're burning and turning. We're hiring, training and hiring and running ads for the call center every day of the week. We had weekly training sessions for the call center. It's exhausting to run a call center. We had to hire people to manage that. They come in. We've had so many people come in bright-eyed and just, I'm going to turn your company around. And I've ran call centers my whole life. I've got 30 years experience. And 2 weeks later, they're running with their tail tucked, asking us for 2 weeks pay. It's a great equalizer, mixing bad energy with good energy to see which energy is stronger. And, negative energy is a bit of a soul suck. So I think the big thing for us was that we dealt with it when we had to. I think it was, we needed the call center to get here. We had to have it to get here. The call center is not going to get us here, though. And so that was the big thing for us.
So when did you make the shift to
go
online?
Just before COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, just before COVID, we started our online marketing campaigns. I think
well, that's good timing.
Fortuitous,
right?
Again, yeah, and I believe that all of these things happen fortuitously because of our energy, because we put good vibes out. We do things like give cubicles away, like little things like that come back to you in one way or another. So it all worked out. We got rid of the call center. We started marketing. We've practiced marketing before with you.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of success with people contacting us, but we were getting a lot of fake businesses and stolen identities. And that was the reason why we shut off the social media marketing. Social media marketing is really good if you're selling water bottles and blankets and stuff. But when you're selling financial support for your business, people aren't really on Instagram or Facebook trying to accomplish that. So we were getting just stolen identities, and everybody that signed up was getting denied. And so we shut that down and moved into other forms of marketing. And it's been interesting to see, because I can see clearly now a good salesperson can make a lot of money. A good salesperson can get rich. A good marketer, though, that's pure wealth right there.
Yeah.
That's huge. If you want to be good at something, be good at the marketing, and then hire the salespeople.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that, and it's exciting to watch. It's growing. We have less employees now. With the call center, we're pumping 60 employees in a high rise. And now we're down to, 22 employees, making way more money, spending way less expenses, and there's zero negative vibes. There's not a single drug dealer in the group. So
yeah.
And I don't want to sound judgmental like they're all drug dealers. We've had some really amazing telemarketers, a couple really good ones, so that I look up to in high regard. One of them, we even offered a promotion to run the call center, and he was like, you know what, thank you, but I want my cubicle. I just want to be left alone, and I just want to telemarket.
Yeah.
And he was good. He was one of the best ever. He retired. A few other guys were good too. So I don't want to sound like it's just a mess, but it was the part of the business that we didn't like. And so as we built it, it was like, what job do I not like? I'll hire that out. And then it became, what about the business do I not like? Let's get rid of that too. And then we know we can hire an outside call center if we want.
Yeah, just to bang appointments. And
yeah, so if we ever get back to it, we will. But I think it's identifying, what makes you happy, what's sucking your soul, and put more energy in what makes you happy and less energy in what's sucking your soul. And that at least makes the journey to success more fun. I mean, from 25 to 35, I was working 12, 14-hour days. Never once was I stressed out. Never once did anybody hear me say, "Oh man, I worked 14 hours today."
Yeah.
Like, no, I was living the dream,
You still
loving
happy.
life. Yeah, just going through it, building my empire. Every deal we closed was a deal closer to success, and just going and going. We're all of a sudden we're going out to better dinners. I mean, I've had my car repossessed out of my driveway when I first started the business. Cell phone shut off, which is how I'm managing the business. And to go from repossession and unpaid bills to just being able to get by is a huge success.
Yeah.
A huge reason to celebrate and have gratitude.
Yeah, to pay the
Whether you're
bills.
working 14 hours a day or not. And then to have an employee, like, are you kidding me? I'm a boss now? So I don't know. This wasn't my first business, by the way. I had a mortgage company back in the day, like 05. And we learned a lot of lessons then because I was really young. I was really immature. I was a boss and not a leader. And, one of my loan officers pulls me aside and he's like, Eric, you're not doing it right. You're really not doing it right. You could do so much better. I know you can. And I was like, go to your fucking desk and get on those phones. We were living that boiler room lifestyle. And it was just get out there and get paid.
So what clicked for you to go from boss to leader?
Maybe it was just maturity. That business failed, which I won't take the blame for that because the mortgage industry crashed. March of 07, it was over on that day. Like March 1st, 2007, it was over, like a brick wall. And so we would take out applications, but nobody was getting approved. And we were paying all these people and nothing was happening. So we shut it down and moved on. And during that phase, I went from, I bought my first house and had my first nice car. I was homeless as a kid. Okay, parents in prison. Like so for me to buy my first house and to have my first nice car, this was huge for me. And I thought I was better than people. I was arrogant, which at that age makes sense, all the hormones. And so I'd cruise around thinking I'm better than the world. And I mean, I just had a lot of work to be done on myself. So I think it was a huge blessing to fail in that business because I lost my house. I lost the car. I ended up a year later living in my ex-girlfriend's family's house rent-free because they cared about me and didn't charge me rent. And my new girlfriend, who was a bartender, would like come over and give me some of her tips so that I could eat. I mean, it was pathetic. And I just think that when I finally got back around, it took me 2 years to wrap my mind around everything. And then I finally was ready to work again. And when I just got back into it, it was obvious that I was a different person. The breakdown and the mental problems of losing everything. I started reading more books, Eckhart Tolle books, A New Earth, Power Now.
Yeah.
I just found books that helped me cope with my anxieties and my stresses and my worries. And I think that by the time I started my next business, I was just more prepared mentally to manage people.
And I think people want to be with a leader as a boss.
Yeah.
They'd rather follow than be. People want to be led, right? People want to be around people that are doing things, that are going places. They want to be a part of something.
They do. But there's an important distinction as a leader that needs to be made, because when I was first starting this business as the leader, it was because I didn't trust anybody. It was because I didn't think another sales agent could do as good as me, and I had to pay these bills, and I didn't want somebody messing up my company. And so I was leading the way because I was afraid to give the reins away. And I think that for the first 3 years of the business, we could have grown a lot faster had I delegated more and trusted more. And when I finally started trusting my team and allowing them to grow and develop as individuals, not just employees, but as people, that's when things really took off for us.
So I've had a very similar experience. Failed businesses, I mean, I graduated high school. Some people became busboys. Some people become servers, bartenders. I was a phone jockey. Like, I've always been in business and started my own call center, and that didn't work and failed and started and failed, and then had a similar experience of a breakdown of a persona and myself, and finding myself as a young man, being reborn, so to speak, coming out into the world after the 2007, 8, 9, 10. Then we're 2014, graduated law school, had some self-esteem, and founded this business back in 2016. And so it's a very similar path, so to speak. But what does the future hold for a guy like you who's already made it, who's already had the business, has the cars, has the money, has the wealth? What's next?
There's a lot next. I love growing, and so I'm never going to stop. Right now, Accredited is sort of an autopilot, which is how we built it. We wanted it to be an autopilot so I could take more vacations and have more free time. I only work between 10 and 2 right now. And in that small window of time, I'm not always working. It's not every day of the week, and it's not all 4 of those hours. It's just that those are the only hours that I will allow myself to be available for anything work-related. And I really enjoy that. And as long as I maintain that, I'm ready to continue working for the rest of my life. So right now we're building a software. I can't go into all the details, but it could be billions of dollars when we sell it. And we could be selling it in the next 18 months. It's huge. So that's sort of the next step with Accredited, is building this software out, this payments facilitation software. Maybe we'll use it and make a lot of money using it, or maybe we will just sell it and walk away. So that would be that. But we've spent so many years building a financial institution that that I'm really finding the creative side a little bit more exciting right now. And so that's why I wrote a novel. And if people buy it, maybe I'll write another one. And if people buy that one, maybe I'll write another one. And who knows? You don't get rich writing books, but you get fulfillment. And so, I'll be developing software and writing books.
And jumping out of planes.
I jump off mountains.
Let's talk about that real quick. So when you're in your spare time, when you're not building an empire, I look at your Instagram, and I saw the last post, you were 13,000 feet above sea level over the Sierras doing something.
Yeah,
and
no,
I was like, what's this guy doing?
I was at 17,000 feet over the Sierra Mountains, over like Mammoth Mountain area, and flying. I flew for 7 hours that day.
We're not talking flying a plane. We're talking jumping out of an airplane.
No, jumping off a mountain.
Jumping off the mountain?
It's a paraglider, so we have a wing above us, like made out of a parachute, but it's a wing. And so we sit in these pods, but you walk off the mountain, you catch the updraft, and you go. And so on that particular day, there was some updrafts that shot me up to 17,000 feet. And we're not allowed to fly over 18,000. I was almost at my legal limit. 747s flying over my head.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. I think adrenaline keeps me young, and also keeps my passion for life. I've never really wanted to sit behind a desk. I even get embarrassed when I tell people that I'm in the financial world, because I feel like it's such a boring industry. But I do the downhill mountain biking and paragliding. Those are my 2 adrenaline hits that I need to keep going.
So if one of our listeners wanted to take a snapshot into your world and they wanted to follow you on Instagram, could they do that?
Yeah, it's my name, Eric_Karnezis. Follow me. It's not a private page. You don't even have to follow me. You can just check it out.
Yeah.
I don't use it for business. I don't market with it. It's just me having fun.
Nice.
I'll probably mention my book because that's passion to me. I don't consider that business, but I don't sell credit card processing on Instagram.
Yeah. If you looked at that Instagram, it would just almost just seem like this is a guy that travels the world and just flies. I have no clue what he does in the business world, right?
Yeah, you would have no idea what I do in the business world. I mean, in the mornings, I say positive things on my stories and try to motivate my friends to get up and do something. but it's never business related.
And you also work out dedicated in the gym?
5 days a week, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. every single morning, no matter how late I went to bed. It's a non-negotiable for me.
And that would you attribute that to your lifestyle, to your success and your mental state? Is there a little something there?
I think being stubborn enough to get out of bed no matter what, and having the courage to leap off of a mountain are important parts of being an entrepreneur. I don't think that you have to go to that extreme, but that's where I take it.
Yeah.
And I love my life. And, on the days when I am tired, maybe I'll take a midday nap because I have the time to do that now.
Yeah.
So,
well, as we wrap this up, is there any tip, any message you'd like to put out to the listener? Little something.
There is, because I've been building this business for 12 years, and I feel like an overnight success. I really do. And so just remember that it's a long journey, and it's exhausting. And always remember your why. I was blessed with a really big why. But the beautiful thing about our whys is that they're relative. And, my why next to your why might seem bigger, but in your heart, your why is equally as big as mine. So just hang on to that and use it for the endurance to get through this journey, because it takes endurance. Simple as that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, Eric. Really appreciate it. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.
And if you want to follow Eric, go ahead. The link to his Instagram will be in the description below, whether you're on Spotify or listening on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever you're listening to this, check out the bio. And look forward to speaking with you again. And cheers. Thanks for coming by, bud.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the main course for straight to the point business insights.